Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Xanton, and welcome to today's video for Honkai Star Rail. I've actually never made a video for Honkai Star Rail, but I have played a lot of gacha games before, and I wanted to make this video as my first gacha game video for Honkai Star Rail. This type of video is a video that you see in a lot of different communities, and that is whether you should pull for a character. We're going to be talking about Silverwolf today. Silverwolf has been out for a bit. We've gotten more data on her from just playing her in-game with all kinds of content. And this video is meant for the people who are still a little on the fence and they're still not sure about whether or not they want to roll for Silverwolf. And I'm going to go through and talk about all of my reasons why you should or should not pull for Silverwolf. Quick answer for the people who just want to know, yes or no, should I pull for Silverwolf? In my personal opinion, yes, you should pull for Silverwolf. So, why though? Why should we pull for Silverwolf? What does she actually do? Well, besides looking cute, Silverwolf actually is a very unique character. First things first though, before you actually play and roll for Silverwolf, I highly recommend you should have at least 90 rolls so you can at least hit pity for Silverwolf. I think it is very important to at least be able to hit pity because it is just unlikely you're going to roll a 5-star without hitting pity. I'm very sorry, but that's just how it will work. Now, let's say you don't want these 4 stars though, but you still want Silverwolf. Roll for her. She is so good. Why is she good though? Well, let's take a look at her skills really quick. Let's take a look at her skills and why she is so good. The main reason why she is so good is this skill of hers, Allow Changes. Allow Changes is crazy good. It breaks the game, basically. It lets you just change how you play Honkai Star Rail. It lets you completely change up your team building. Currently, with Honkai outside of Silverwolf teams, you kind of have to take into account your enemy weaknesses. You have to look at your enemies and be like, oh, they're weak to wind. I should have like 1 or 2 wind characters to try and break their toughness. With Silverwolf, that all pretty much goes out the window. You just say whatever, don't need it, and you can start to build mono or pseudo-mono teams. But if you look at this, more importantly, I need to mention this because some people I've seen in my stream don't actually realize this. Silverwolf's skill adds a weakness that the enemy doesn't have. But with the way it's worded, you wouldn't understand this if you didn't know how it works this way. She will only add a weakness from one of your played character's elements. So if you're playing, say, 2 quantum units and 2 physical units, she will only add quantum or physical weakness. She will not add fire. She will not add wind, etc., etc. And this is why she is so useful for helping these mono element teams. You know, mono ice, mono fire, mono physical, etc., etc. And you kind of like that because a lot of these mono element teams get to play some really powerful characters. So you get to just use Silverwolf's skill. Hopefully you get the 50-50 and roll the element that your mono team is, whether it's ice or fire or whatever, and not quantum. If the enemy is already weak to quantum, then her ability is 100% of the time going to hit that element. And then this is another strength of hers, and that is that once she hits that element weakness, until it pops off, you don't really need to use her skill anymore. And that's really good because then you can just use her basic attack, and that lets you stay skill point neutral and maybe even skill point positive depending on the rest of your team. This way you can use maybe like Natasha heals or I don't know, Sushong attacks, maybe fire MC shields, etc., etc. And plus her attack is pretty good too, thanks to her talent. Her talent is actually really strong. She can create 3 types of bugs, and these bugs either reduce attack, reduce defense, or reduce speed. Every single one of these is good. Reducing attack obviously helps give you some survivability. Defense lets you kill things faster, and speed is, well, it lets you do more stuff. Yeah, great team though. Now, let's say you don't have 90 rolls, though. Let's say you're like, okay, streamer, that's cool and all, and you're starting to convince me now, but I don't have 90 rolls for Silverwolf. If you don't have 90 rolls for Silverwolf, honestly, maybe I would say maybe don't roll. Maybe try not to get lucky and get that, I think it's a 0.3% chance for a 5-star. Unless you really, really like these 4-stars. Maybe you really like Asta. Like, Asta is a good 4-star. And you can always say, well, I'm starting to build up pity for the next banner, which is Luocha. And Luocha is a pretty solid character. Or maybe you're going to roll for Kafka. I'm not saying you should wail for her and spend some money, but maybe even considering spending some money. But yeah, she's just so good. Why else is she good, though? The other reason is Quantum. Quantum is so strong here. A lot of these other elements, they kind of don't do much. Like physical, fire, ice, they just weakness break and they deal their damage, and then they apply a DOT, which is whatever. Like ice, like immobilizing an enemy is really good actually for ice, but Quantum's toughness break is so good. Yes, it's a lot of words. We'll go through it together. First off, Quantum attack to trigger weakness break. Yeah, whatever. It will deal the quantum damage and apply entanglement effect. Entanglement is so good. I wouldn't say it's the best, but I'd say maybe Imaginary is the best, but honestly, I don't know how Imaginary works that well because I haven't experimented much with Imaginary because there's only one Imaginary character in the game right now, and that is Welt. But I do think Quantum is probably top 2, definitely top 3, depending on how highly you rate up Freeze, how highly you rate up Ice. But delaying the enemy's action. And then, of course, dealing additional quantum damage at the start of the next turn, which is pretty good. It's basically an extra DOT. And then when they are hit, this extra damage will increase, so you can get even more damage, which is so insanely good. But right there, that line, delaying the enemy's action, this is so good. It allows you to set up your team, set up, you know, March 7 shields, maybe Clara taunts, Japard shielding, etc., etc. So stuff like that, you know, building up energy for ultimates and stuff like that. And that's why I love Quantum. That's just another tick mark on the why you should roll for Silverwolf. Now, that's not to say she doesn't have anything bad about her, though. There are bad things about her. And what is that? Well, we talked about how her skill does allow your team building, allows some good team building chances with mono teams, but let's say you don't really do that. Basically, I'm trying to say there is a little bit of RNG with her skill if you don't properly build her team. I'll be honest with you, I am grasping for a con here for Silverwolf with this, but I feel like I should mention it because some people will be like, okay, what if I throw Silverwolf in my Silverwolf, Fire MC, Natasha, Dan team, and that's 4 different elements. You kind of don't like that because that's very, very heavy RNG. Hoping, I guess with that team, you would hope to get a wind weakness for Dan or whatever. And you don't like that. You don't want that. You want mono teams, so every character or almost every character is hitting and working on toughness breaking the enemy. Another weakness, this is probably her biggest weakness in my honest opinion, and that is she's very single target damage based. If you are against like swarms or wave based stuff, Silverwolf kind of sucks. Nothing she's doing is AoE. Her basic attack hits 1 unit. Her skill hits 1 unit. Even her ultimate hits 1 unit. Yeah, her ultimate's pretty good. Decreasing defense is pretty solid to set up for your DPS unit for your carry, but sometimes you just need a little AoE. That's fixable, of course, by building your team around that. Maybe you're going into MOC and you know you're going to be against some wave-based stuff, so you want to bring in like a, I don't know, a Serval or a Himiko or whatever AoE character you have built. So while these are cons, they are easily fixable cons. Her next con is also kind of bad, and that is she's very reliant on effect hit rate. So that kind of does mean you have to set aside some some stats for effect hit rate. My Silverwolf is not properly built yet because I'm still relatively low level. I'm only like at 60 instead of 80s like a lot of other players are. But there are ways around this. The main way you're going to get around a low EHR, a low effect hit rate, so you can actually land her debuffs, is her relics. You're going to have her relic stats just giving lots of effect hit rates, and then after you get a certain amount, whatever you math out, then you can just go for the normal crit rate, crit damage, and speed. Speed is really good with her, of course, because if she gets to attack first, activate her skill first, and then you can get the weakness off for all of your other characters. Other ways you could do this, I guess, would be Pella. Pella, I believe, has a trace that increases her allies' effect hit rate, which is solid as well. I think it increases by 10% while Pella's on the field, which is pretty solid. But let's talk about some teams a little bit more. Let's talk about let's say you get Silverwolf and you're like, okay, I did roll for Silverwolf, streamer. You convinced me. I rolled for her, but how do I build her? This right here, in my opinion, is a solid free-to-play team. If you are not whaling or you just didn't get good luck and you don't have like, let's say you don't have Zila. I believe that's how you pronounce her name. It's like Zila, Zile. It's not Seal. I know that. You can use Xingshui. Sorry. Xingshui is pretty solid. Yes, she is a gacha character, so you will have to roll for her, but she is a 4-star, so it's not unlikely you won't have her. And Sushong is also another 4-star character, but it is likely you'll have her, but if you don't have her, you could definitely replace her with some other debuffer, buffer, or another DPS unit, as long as they have physical or quantum damage. For a free-to-play player, that would basically just be the physical damage MC, which honestly kind of sucks. And then you, of course, have Natasha because she has physical damage, and she's a good healer. So that is just a good team right there. Another team I like with my Silverwolf is just a fire team here. Fire MC, Silverwolf, Asta, Himiko. Use Silverwolf's ability. Either hits quantum weakness or fire weakness, assuming the enemy already has quantum weakness as well. She will always give fire weakness. Assuming you don't have Himiko, and in all honesty, this is probably better. You can use Hook. I personally don't have Hook, but I really like this team, especially because Asta has a trace that increases fire damage as well. When Asta's on the field, all allies' fire damage increases by 18%. That's pretty good. And without Silverwolf, you probably couldn't play this team, or at least you couldn't play this team as effectively and in as much content as you could if you have Silverwolf. So roll for her. That is basically what I'm saying. You want this gamer girl hacker. Luocha is the next character coming up. Yes, Luocha is nice and all, but he is a healer. At the end of the day, he is just a healer, and that is replaceable with things like Bailu and Natasha. And until you start to get into things where you're going to need 2 teams, you don't need Luocha, and you can probably pass on him. I'm in before all the Luocha fans crucify me. But yes, I think she is so good. I think this character is one of the best characters you can get. If I had to put her on a tier list, I would definitely say she is an S tier character. I will say you might have a little struggle with the light cones if you didn't do her event, but yeah, just roll for her. She's so good. And that's pretty much all I have to say for Silverwolf, really. Like, great character, so good in the game right now. Another thing about her is what she does is fairly unique. Yes, there are other debuffers out there like Pella, Sampo, etc., but they all don't do as much or exactly what Silverwolf does. They don't enable as many teams as Silverwolf. They don't help kill things as well as Silverwolf does. So at the end of the day, roll for Silverwolf. She's really, really good. I would honestly say, like, I don't think HoYoverse, MiHoYo, is going to make another character similar to Silverwolf for a while, so she's also pretty future-proof. Unlike someone, say, like Luocha, who I don't think is as future-proof as Silverwolf, because I feel like in the future we're probably going to get another healer or 2 as well. Meanwhile, I think it's gonna be a long time until we get some other character who creates weaknesses like Silverwolf. So yeah, that is gonna be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'd love to hear your opinion too. My first time making one of these videos about why I think people should or should not roll for a gacha character. If you guys just enjoyed the video in general, of course, I would love it if you could leave a like or a comment down below. Always helps me out, always helps out the channel. And if you guys want to keep up with the Honkai Star Rail content, which I will be doing more of, I'm going to be throwing up some more guides for characters, gameplay. I'm going to be doing more videos like this where I talk about whether or not I think you should roll for a character on their banner. You can always subscribe to the channel if you want to keep up with it. And if you guys want to watch me play some Honkai Star Rail, you can go and check me out over on Twitch at twitch.tv/Zenington, where I stream pretty much every single day, playing a lot of Honkai Star Rail. You know, get in, do my dailies, work on Simulated Universe, maybe some MOC, etc., whatever I feel like. Anyway, though, with that all said and done, though, thank you all again once more for watching this video, and talk to you guys in the next one. Bye!